In this lesson, we are going to be working on solving proportions and solving using a multiplier or divisor, and then coming up with tables to help solve them as well. So, a proportion is a comparison of two items. In the first example, we know that the ratio of sugar to flour is 1 to 3 cups. So we could use a table to see that if we are making cookies and we need 12 cups of flour, that we would need 4 cups of sugar. Because our ratio is 1 to 3, we can multiply both of the sugar and the flour by 2, or we could multiply by 3, or we could multiply by 4 to figure out how much sugar and flour we need if we need to increase the recipe. In the table, the number of sugar cups is multiplied by 3 in each column. So in the second example, let's see if we can figure out a proportion, which is increasing a ratio. So use a table to solve each of the following problems and then tell whether the relationship is a part to part or part to whole. The ratio of boys to girls in the class is 2 to 4. 2 boys to 4 girls. If there are 20 girls in the class, how many boys are there in the class? So we could continue by multiplying, or we could even do this by dividing. So if we move over and we put 2 to 4, if I were to divide each of these by 2, we'd have a ratio of 1 to 2. So we could go 3 to 6 by multiplying by 3. By multiplying by 4, we could go 4 to 8. By multiplying by 5, we could go 5 to 10, and so on until we get all the way up to 20 girls. What we need to figure out is, what did I multiply by 2 to get 20? And I multiplied by 10. So I could also multiply the boys by 10. 1 times 10 would be 10. In the next example, the ratio of pigs to goats in a field is 1 to 5. If there are 15 goats in the field, how many pigs are there? So we could multiply both of these by 2. 2 times 1 is 2. 2 times 5 is 10. We could multiply them by 3. 3 times 1 is 3. And 3 times 5 is 15. And there we would have the number of goats, which we said was 15. So it says, how many pigs would there be? There would be 3 pigs. Both of these examples are part to part. We're talking about girls versus boys and girls, or pigs and goats, part to part. Now let's take a look at example number 3. The ratio of pigs to the animals on the farm is 1 to 10. This one's going to be a part to whole, because we're talking about pigs to all of the animals. We could multiply the pigs by 2 and increase the number of animals by times 2, which would be 20. We could multiply the pigs times 3. 3 times 1 would be 3. And the number of animals times 3, which would be 30. We could multiply the pigs by 4 and the number of animals by 4, which would be 40. We could also multiply by 50. So it asks us, if there are 50 animals on the farm, how many pigs would there be? And that would be 5. And that's a part to whole. The ratio of Mexican restaurants to hamburger restaurants in town is 2 to 3. So we want to figure out if there are 12 Mexican restaurants. Okay, so let's take a look at that. 12 Mexican restaurants. What do we do to the 2 to get 12? We multiplied by 6. So we can also multiply by 6 to come up with an equivalent ratio, and that would be 18. So there would be 18 hamburger joints. This is a part to part. All right, let's look at the next example. The ratio of ice cream to milk in a milkshake is 2 cups of ice cream to 1 cup of milk. If the restaurant uses 18 cups of ice cream, how much milk would they use? What do you do to the 2 to get 18? We multiply by 9. So if we multiply 1 by 9, we know that there would be 9 cups of milk. This is going to be a part to part because our milkshake is part ice cream and part milk. So we have now been working on equivalent ratios, which is solving with proportions.